No, I did not say it. I did not say. I'm still sticking with what I said.
We
Show me the
should have
proof.
made that bet.
Show me the proof.
Yeah, Shane, legend. None of us
Place
was.
is a
She is
bad
like, are you
influence.
live
Yeah.
yet?
I
If he was
said,
live, this would be perfect.
Stop.
She's
I
lost.
said FUC, FUC,
He
and it was no
lost.
K. I didn't lose.
Yeah, you lost. There was a group of us. We all say you lost.
I did not lose. Well, the group of you are all crazy anyway, so I don't care. It's
You
a,
need to get off that
FUC.
platform. You don't deserve it.
I'm
Yeah,
saying.
Shane needs this for being person to make a break.
Jesus, Helen, the attitude in your voice there. You need to get off that platform.
Yeah, like
'cause you don't deserve it.
Terminate
Okay,
Shane.
bitch.
Hey,
Bottom
don't
bitch.
turn on me. I haven't
Basic.
broken my New Year's resolution.
I didn't break it either at all. I said FUC. There was no K. You all crazy.
Broke it as a team.
Show me the video. Show me the
Yeah,
video.
teamwork.
All right, I'm gonna eat my
Teamwork,
chips
smart.
now. I'm gonna eat my chips, but I did only said the FUC. I'm gonna eat my chips now.
That's close enough.
Comfort eating.
Nice. Why not? I'll megaphone myself.
does feel
How's everyone doing? Happy New Year! Right? Some of you, the New Year's already rung in, so congratulations to those of you who are already in 2024. For the rest of us suckers, we
The
still have
future.
to hang out in
The future.
2023. But yeah, for me, it's in about 4 or 5 hours. I know for some people, it's in what, maybe 12 hours, Faye?
10.
Yes,
10 hours
actually.
here.
12 hours.
minus 12 is a thing. Jeez.
13.
So yeah,
13.
so we're still in the thick of it. Yeah, there's definitely lots of New Year's celebrations still to be had. I think we had one of the first ones, which was this morning for me with Gem Chick, who's been trying not to swear, but has just recently broken that attempt. Yeah,
I did not. I said
Yes,
FUC.
legend.
and the community will pick, then that person will also win 1 month of free Nitro. And that's pretty much it.
Boom.
Boom. Congratulations, Lee.
There you go. Yeah, exactly, right? So for everybody on Casper's timeline, which, by the way, is the darkest timeline. But yeah, thank you very much, Casper. That's great. That's awesome. I'm going to be there for as much of that as I can be awake for. Yeah, so this is Space Makers. That's awesome. Honestly, I recognize most people. On Banter. It's been particularly exciting lately because we've had a number of people building for our current, holiday hackathon that we have called the Bantathon. So yeah, there is a load of information on our website. If you're interested in making spaces, it's going to evolve quite a lot as we kind of build out our next iteration of how to build a space, which is our SDK v2 we've been talking about for the last little while. But yeah, if you want to find any information on how to build, if you want to connect with the community, the docs and the Discord in the top right, those are always the two most important things I always make sure to mention. Wow, Proxide looking like Elon Musk over there. Yeah, so yeah, that's basically what this is about. Then usually we kind of kick into a Q&A, which I'm happy to do, but maybe before I do that, I'll maybe just do a shout out to Faye and her new avatar, if anybody's interested in looking at it over there. Slight customization in what she usually has. All her
It's just
own.
a slight customization.
Completely Faye. Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Faye.
I love it.
I'm a
I
Faye.
came over and checked it out a little bit.
That's really cool.
Nice of you. You have a hairpiece
Yeah.
on too. It looks really nice.
Oh, thank you. I just used the necklace.
Yeah, you look good.
You'll notice the wings move when she talks. Which is
Aline
cool.
did that. She's amazing. Thank you, Aline.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
As you guys know, every participant in the hackathon is going to also get their own custom avatar. We're in a broader sense, we're looking into custom avatars across the entire platform, but we want to reward you guys with a little bit of early access. There's been some reports of custom avatars starting to work through Ready Player Me integration, although it seems like they're having some trouble with that right now, and we're hoping to find out more about that in the new year. But the method that Faye's avatar is using, and actually mine as well, is a different method. So we can still create custom avatars for you guys, even if it's not yet fully functional through Ready Player Me. I think longer term, though, we're pretty excited about how that integration with Ready Player Me can really open things up in terms of being able to manage and set up many custom avatars for yourself and being able to use them not just in Banter, but in many different games potentially. Yeah, I think what Ready Player Me are doing is pretty clear. They're wanting to have that centralized marketplace of avatars and avatar accessories. And I think that's pretty cool, right? I think that could be really, really neat to have that. So, I'll be excited to sort of look towards that as a longer term future solution for custom avatars on the platform. But in the meantime, we've still got something that we can play with. You might have also noticed Ben has changed up his avatar. If anybody has seen him around, I'm not sure if Ben is here, but if he is, shout out to you, Ben. So maybe just before I kick into Q&A, I usually do this more towards the end, but why not all just recognize and acknowledge our boy Shoseki, who is flying around and live streaming us to the interwebs as we speak. Not sure where he is, but if we all generally just look in a direction, I'm sure he'll somehow end up there. His avatar is up here. It's just for illustrative purposes. If you need to, you can go up there and hold his hand as an emotional support animal. He's totally cool with that. Okay, so yeah, we have 3 Quest 3 winners to announce. Oh boy, there he goes. There he goes. And now he's stuck. We have 3 Quest 3 winners to announce this week, which is great, right? Because it's New Year's Eve, it's a celebratory time. We've got 3 people we'd like to reward. This is the last week that we're planning to give away a Quest 3, the one every week that we've been doing now for the last sort of nearly 3 months, in fact. Honestly, it's been great being able to sort of give out all these headsets and drag people into VR and give people a new headset so they can pass their old one on to somebody else, bringing a new person into VR, right? That's what this is all about. We're still in those early stages where we're still kind of the custodians of all of this, and we are collectively all doing our part really to help push the industry forward, right? And that's how I like to think of it when I think about us giving out headsets, is that we're doing a small bit in a larger piece to just spread the word, create awareness, get people excited about this stuff, get them involved in something. Even if they don't win, they might get exposed enough to spend more time in the industry or become engaged with it later, right? So, yeah, pretty excited about that. What we'll probably do is take a little bit of a break, but I'm thinking that there could be a longer term regular Quest 3 or similar sort of scale of prize giveaway that we do indefinitely, right? But I think what we'll do is just take a breather for maybe 4 weeks, I would say, and maybe pick things back up in February and just do that to kind of assess, see where we've got, see what the impact of all of this has been. So, yeah, we've obviously got loads of prize giveaways going today. 3 Quest 3s went out today on the SideQuest website. 3 winners there from the prize giveaway we announced a couple of weeks ago. And then, yeah, I've got 3 to announce here today. And then the Bantathon, which ends tonight at midnight CET. I think it's the time that I set up in the end, right? Which is...
You did UTC +1 in your
CET.
timestamp.
That's right, yes. So that's in about 4 hours, or just under 4 hours from now, if I have that right. At which point we'll be closing entries, and at that point then there's a deliberation period of about 7 days where we're going to go through all of the submissions and we're going to be picking a winner. I'll tell you that as part of the submission process, I want to sort of highlight that Aline is kind of all of our hero, let's say, when it comes to setting the standard with quality in terms of what you can kind of do in this engine. Let's be honest about that. I think we all feel that way internally, and I think it's fair to say that's probably also the case with the wider community too. Aline is going to be the single and sole judge of this competition, right? So Aline is going to be deciding who the winner is. Myself and Bob and some of the rest of our team can help by giving our input on what things are and how things are perceived by us, but ultimately the decision will be Aline's. I think Aline sets a really great standard, and she basically defined this competition from the outset. And honestly, it's been great. I've really enjoyed casually spending time in some of your spaces and seeing how some of you are so focused on things like optimization and frame rate and trying to keep things running as smoothly as possible, right? I know some of you have been really hyper focused on that, and I really appreciate it. Honestly, I really do. Even if we end up in a place where things don't end up quite as optimized as you like, we'll always end up in a much better place than if we hadn't considered it at all, right? And from my experience on a lot of other platforms, that's what they do. That's how things generally work. So even the fact that we have just spent so much time thinking about that as part of this process has been great, and it's going to be a real good advantage to pretty much all you guys when it comes to building here on Banter and anywhere else, right? Optimization is a great skill and mindset that translates to pretty much everything. So I've been waffling on now for nearly 15 straight minutes, so I'm going to shut up and move into our Q&A session. So as is usually the case, anybody who'd like to ask a question, you could step right up onto this yellow block. And if we have multiple instances, we might have another one. Maybe one of my team can keep an eye out there and megaphone anybody if need be, right? But anybody has any questions about anything at all, any of the random drops I've done this week of like a networking script I just put in the general chat, or maybe the new SDK builder I threw into the Space Makers channel the other day. Anything at all. I think I've been dropping little leaks here and there, secrets, new UI stuff, right? That's something I could definitely talk about a lot in terms of cool new things we've been doing. But yeah, anybody, go ahead. Let's get into that awkward few moments where somebody's going to come up here and ask a question. Have I actually answered all the questions? Is this just turned into a hangout? Are we all just here to just chill?
It's a party.
And Kage, are you teasing me, or are you going to jump on the block?
I will actually jump on the block. You did literally at the end of the waffle say the thing I was going to ask, but I will ask anyway. Is there any timeline or any extra quote unquote little leaks you can tell us about the new UI?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the biggest thing that we've been sort of working to do with the new UI is to kind of test out some of our assumptions at scale and to see how we can really cram the most out of the UI in terms of how well it can function, how visually appealing it can be, but primarily performance, right? It's one of those areas that if we can really cram to make it better, make it more performant, then everybody across the platform benefits because it's a platform level feature, right? The UI, it's really, really important. So I'm excited to say that we have been working on something which involves a complete upheaval of the entire UI using a much newer UI system that Unity has been working on and is the future really in terms of UI as they see it, and that's the system that we're now leaning into, and it's going to be how we build out the new menu. And thankfully, in my tests, it was considerably more performant than the existing UI system that we're using. And what we're hoping to do is to I realize I'm going a bit further now than your question, but why not? I'll just cover it in case anybody else does. But we're hoping to try and wrap up a lot of convenient sort of input scenarios to this UI and then make it generally available as part of the SDK so that you can use it yourself within your own worlds too, for world space UI that you can create in your worlds, right? But we want to try and wrap up all those inputs, from everything from sort of pointer input at a distance to you get a bit closer and maybe your finger is pointing, and then you get really close and then you're just touching it with your finger, right? Then it's kind of a direct touch kind of thing. If we can abstract away all of that mess, and then you can just create UIs that people can just tap or interact with their cursors in your worlds, that's going to be a really nice addition to not only our own new menu and interaction system, but also the SDK, which is coming too.
It's pretty awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate the question. It always takes one to kick it off. MJ, go ahead. Your megaphone.
I'm aware Object Sync is currently in its alpha state, but are there any tips at the moment for making it a bit more stable? I've seen a couple people have like guitar strings go flying, etc.
Oh, guitar strings. Is that a turn of phrase, or have you legit seen guitar strings?
Legitimately, I've seen guitar strings fall off a model.
Interesting.
I've just seen separate mesh renderers split apart.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, on the network sync, right? Okay, so just before almost all of my team went off for Christmas, and we were on sort of skeleton staff on graveyard shifts to basically keep the place going. And this is the wider side quest, right? Not just Banter specifically, but including Banter. We tried to cram as much as we could possibly get in there. I don't know if you noticed, we got a bunch of bugs fixed, like that muting lag or whatever that people were experiencing. But we also crammed in a few extra features. Like some people are experimenting in some spaces with force grab. Some people are using the new Gorilla Tag mode. These custom avatars are one of the features we managed to cram in, and the network synced objects. So we actually crunched over that entire weekend just before people went off to cram as much as we possibly could in, and thankfully we didn't break that much. There was one or two things that I broke. I'll put my hand up. But yeah, we didn't break too much on the network sync. One of our guys actually came in on his time off to take a look at it to see if he could root out some of the problems, and he found that generally there was some scenarios where if there was a script on your prefab that was missing, which can sometimes happen when you build them into an asset bundle, or in some cases, and I don't know exactly which one, you might need to test and find out, but certain components on the hierarchy of your prefab that you're trying to sync can cause it to fail to sync. The reason for this is because what it does is it takes your object and basically disables it in the hierarchy immediately and then starts to clone from that. But it uses some, under the hood, some method to copy components from one object to the other throughout that hierarchy, if you get me. So what happens is that we've found, at least through the errors we've seen so far, that sometimes that copying fails and then the networking fails to spawn the object, and then as a result it doesn't work, basically, right? So we will absolutely, and it's been great to get as much feedback from many different people using it already, right? I've been playing around with a little pool table in private, which honestly works great, except for the balls tend to hug the cushion too much and it's too easy, right? If they're going really slow, they just hit the cushion and hug it and roll their way down into the pocket. So that.
Oh, Shane crashed.
No.
Oh no.
As usual.
Shane.
Well, that's ironic.
Come back, Shane. Come back.
Oh,
Hello, Dario.
they
How
appeared
are
to
you?
disappear.
It's all part of the show. It's a magic
That's
show.
what
Are you
happens when
feeling
you go
better?
to the new year.
I'm getting much
Snap of
better.
a finger.
Much better.
Why
He's
is it
not
okay?
in his
new year.
Good, good.
He'll just
Mm.
go.
Okay.
Wasn't
Hear
good.
that.
Wasn't good
Still got a
yesterday.
few
Come out
so
early.
through
I'm
Took
few
him out early.
hours.
How's your
back.
build going?
Today,
Welcome back.
That's sort of that.
Appear and reappear
don't
again.
know.
Oh, he's back.
So, Jemchick already swam.
Oh, whoopsie.
Hello.
Yeah, so
Welcome
I appreciate it for everybody who's been helping on those and testing that out, right? We've already got a lot of feedback there, which is great, and we're going to work on making those more stable first thing in the new year. But if if you do need any tips using them in the meantime, just feel free to ping us, and I hope some of those tips before I disconnected there were useful too.
So there's a couple of bugs with the cloning process at the moment that's being used. Fair.
Exactly. Cheers, MJ. Okay, so who's gonna go ahead and take a step up on the pad? I know all you guys are just waiting to see who's gonna win the quests as well, right? I get it. Maybe we should front load the event with that so that people can go ahead, Remarcus.
I got a question. I'm a enthusiastic noob, should we say, when it comes to kind of Unity and development and whatever. And I'll be honest, I rely quite heavily on either others or ChatGPT. Now, I've been having troubles trying to feed in the Banter stuff and the Unity stuff and the A-frame stuff to get it all kind of working. And I was kind of hoping maybe at some point we could have some sort of, I don't know, document or something that I can feed into ChatGPT so it understands the connection between Banter and A-frame and stuff. Because I think like it struggles with how to trigger things and that sort of thing. Because I guess there's a layer there that it just doesn't understand. And I don't understand it.
No, that's a really interesting one. I guess the issue there is likely that Banter's so new that there's not really enough information out there for ChatGPT to have scraped it in whatever the most commonly used checkpoints, let's say, of that are. But that's actually quite an interesting point. You know, I just had an idea as you're talking, because now you can create custom ChatGPTs, of course, where you can basically fine tune from the top and feed information in so that it's already got kind of a working knowledge. So that's definitely something I'm going to take a note of and look into to see if maybe there is an opportunity to do that, right?
Yeah,
as part of the new SDK.
You feed it web pages, but it says that it can't read Banter. So I guess if something we've done there at least, because you can't even read the website.
Right.
Or what I've tried.
Well, I think most spaces from Banter, if you open them in a web page, they're just a blank white screen. There's actually nothing to them. So I'm not
Oh,
100%.
I mean the actual website and all the docs and stuff.
ChatGPT can't read websites.
4 can. You can read other websites when I give it to it.
Yeah.
But I guess there must be something in the web page itself that stops it from reading it or something. I'm not sure what it would be. Either that or I'm
GPT-4's
doing it wrong.
memorized a lot of sites as well.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, probably a better tool would be to have something that we've kind of built the data already in a certain structure and passed it to it to make best use of it as it can, let's say, with a custom ChatGPT. So we can certainly look into that. As regards why it couldn't read this website, I can't honestly think. You know, a lot of the hyperlinks and everything are just standard. It's using a modern front-end framework, Angular, which is, you know, one of the more recent versions and basically boilerplate standard. There's nothing that's really been changed, so that's odd. It would be pretty common.
I also tried
structure.
copy and pasting the page, but it doesn't grab all the. Obviously, you click on things to get a bit more information. It doesn't bring all that across, so it just kind of gets half the information, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, could
Help
be
a noob
some
out,
weird
yeah.
nuance in how it's navigating pages. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's hard to say. But yeah, I can have a play with it after this and see what it does.
Cool, thank you. I've just
Yeah,
one other
thank you.
question.
Go ahead.
Quick one. But I've got a Quest 3 and I'm playing Banter on there. I did quickly load up my Pico 4 to do it, and Banter looked like really low resolution compared to the Quest 3 or in the Quest version. Is the Pico version been updated? Is it on the same build as everybody else?
Yeah, the Pico version is definitely on the same build as everybody else. I'm not sure. There could be some anti-aliasing settings that maybe it doesn't have, or I'm not. Maybe you know better than I do in terms of what the resolution difference is between those two headsets. There could also be there could be some super sampling at play as well, because Quest also has that, although it's not what they call it. They don't call it super sampling, they call it something else. But there is a multiplier you can apply to the eye textures, which effectively achieves the same thing. And I don't know if the differences between those settings, right, between those kind of platform level native settings could be it. And of course the frame rate. I think on Pico there's 72 and 90 frames, but if you set, you know, maybe 120 or 80, it won't know what frame rate to pick, so it'll probably revert back to 72. But no, every version update we do, it's a locked version for every platform, so we always update the Pico one at the same time. Although Pico is only done via the SideQuest website right now, so you have to manually go and grab that update. Let's say, so if you did that yesterday, you'll have the newest one.
Yeah, I did it today just to go because I'll be honest, I prefer the Pico 4
over the Quest 3.
Oh yeah, as a kind of long term keep it on your face type headset, absolutely more comfortable.
Right, lighter.
But
yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The field of view, the lenses, they're actually better, I think.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Everyone's head's different. Everyone's eyes are different.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No worries. I'll have a little play with it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I will too. And I'll get our quality assurance engineer. I don't know if he's here, but I'll get him to take a look at it too, because he has a Pico, and he does active testing on it every single time before we do a release. So
even the menus are harder to read, and the loading picture and stuff. It was just
interesting.
It looked like half resolution. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe I just have to reboot the headset or something. Maybe I haven't used it for a while.
Maybe it could be some updates as well, but I'll get him to check on that anyway and see what the story is. But yeah, maybe there's something we can change, which can improve it too. So if that's the case, definitely eager to do that.
I do know there are some games they bring out on Pico and they haven't updated them for the higher resolution and the stuff like that, so they do look more pixelated. But this looked worse than that.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Proxide, you're on the block
Hey, hi.
discussion. You're megaphoned. You're live to all the
Oh,
rooms.
thank
You
you.
look a
Thank
little bit like Elon Musk.
you. Thank you
Go
very much.
ahead.
Yeah.
Love the hoodie.
That it was an accident, I promise. Yeah, no, I was just thinking here spontaneously right now that I was trying out getting Banter to launch with the new Steam Link. I don't know if you've tried Steam Link yet, but I can't get it to actually open up in VR that way. So I wonder if is there any Steam launch options I have to have on Banter or something for that to work? Have you tried that?
The default launch configuration on Banter should be to launch in VR mode. There's a command
Right.
line option for forcing it into 2D mode, let's say. So no, I mean that should just work out of the box. Just to be just to double check, you're talking about Steam Link on the Quest, the app that got recently released on the Quest store to
Yes, correct.
connect directly
Instead
to
of
Steam.
AirLink or yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest, we haven't actually added that. We generally test out all the other workflows as it stands, like virtual desktop, AirLink, all of those things, but we haven't added Steam Link to that list yet. So maybe we'll just add that. It's another one for our
Double
QA
check.
guys to give that a shot and see.
One thing I've had to debug in the past with OpenXR apps is make sure that your Steam VR is your OpenXR runtime while using Steam Link, because everything's through Steam VR.
I think I set it to that, but I'll double check. Because the thing is, even when I do AirLink and try to open Banter through Steam, I still can't get the Steam settings to pop up in VR. So it's like it doesn't launch via Steam, even though it's opened via Steam. Like it's opened through Oculus instead. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Oculus is your OpenXR runtime then.
Okay. Well, that's probably the issue then.
I'm not sure if I think if you're using virtual desktop, then the Steam settings button works, right? But if I'm wrong, stop me if I'm wrong, but I think if you're using Link, don't they override that button, the settings button on Quest?
Yes.
So it doesn't open the settings menu in Steam VR.
That's something I was
just
wondering.
said
Yeah, when I click the left settings button on my controller, it opens up the
It
Banter
definitely
settings.
overrides it. It's one or the other.
Yes. That's exactly what it is then in that case. I think that button must not open necessarily the Steam settings when you're going through Link, and in our case then it opens the Banter menu settings. When you're on virtual desktop with Steam, it's actually the B button on the other controller you have to use for the Banter menu, because then that button becomes the Steam settings button.
Right, but I do also notice that on the dashboard, the Steam dashboard in VR, it doesn't actually show Banter running there, which it usually does, with apps.
That's a
So it's
runtime
like
issue.
Oh, okay.
You think that's so it could be that Oculus has set itself as your OpenXR backend as
Might
your
be,
OpenXR
yeah.
runtime.
Yeah, I have to
in that
double check
case.
that.
And
did find,
maybe that's why it's not launching Steam.
I did find out that in the Steam VR settings, you can go under Developer and set your OpenXR as the runtime there. So
Yes.
it's something to completely override it in the settings. I
Well,
sent
I'll
it
just
to you on
double check
Discord
that then.
to help. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm sure
Sure.
it's fine then. I'll just
Let me
change
know
the,
how you get on,
runtime.
and we'll
Of
test
course.
it out on our end anyway and see what the story is there. But I think that's what
Alright,
it is.
sounds
In
good.
future, there's a possibility we might move the menu button to be across all the platforms, just because of that little quirk that we had to work around, which is the complex web of controller mappings whenever you're going through
Right.
several layers of apps,
Yeah.
be it Link or Virtual Desktop or now Steam Link as well, and how all of that kind of maps in, let's say. But Steam VR is definitely the supported backend for us. There are some quirks right now between different backends. Like the Oculus OpenXR backend is slightly different, unfortunately. This is all supposed to be universal,
Yeah.
and
I
eventually
know.
that's where we'll hopefully end up, right? But then Virtual Desktop also has its own OpenXR backend, and it only works with Virtual Desktop. It doesn't work with other things. So there's definitely some gotchas there, and it's like browsers, right? They all pop up and say, "Oh, set me as your default. Set me as your default," right? So there's definitely a gotcha there, I would say, probably for your average user, that they can end up on the wrong back end and that it can mess things up. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that
Still
will,
early days.
yeah, the standard hopefully will mature and that will become That's the whole point of it, really, I guess, is to avoid that, right? Is to make everything just one interface
Yeah.
that makes sense. But yeah, let me know how you get on.
I will do.
Cheers, Peroxide.
No worries.
Okay, who's next?
I
Anybody?
also
Go
like your
ahead.
custom hoodie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that looks good.
I am Knuff.
Yeah, I love it. All right.
Dario,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I don't know if this is the right place to ask this, but I'm filling the blank.
Okay.
I'm really struggling with the sit action for my space. So
Okay.
if you know a space that got this, or if anyone got a space with it, it'll be very appreciated because it's hard. I'm losing
Yeah,
my mind.
absolutely.
It's very hard.
Yeah, if you there's a space RC-car
Yeah,
that
yeah,
has a few of these mechanics included. It has the lock player and unlock player when you pick up a little controller, and then it overrides your controls for a car you can control, and then you can click on the car, and then it sits you on the car, so you can drive the car while you're on it. But the sit part is what you're looking for. rc-car.glitch.me is the address for that. I can give you the
RC car?
link. Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
give you the link to the
alright,
glitch so that you can remix it as well if you want.
Yep. Okay. I'll take it.
Yeah. And absolutely,
Alright,
that's of
alright.
course a great question. It's a perfect question really for space makers, isn't it? Right? So
Yeah.
thank you for that, Dario.
Thanks to you.
Okay.
I did it.
I just got... Go man.
Go ahead, Lee.
I just
The
have
jester.
a suggestion. Like in the future, I know the force grab is it still a work in progress?
Yeah.
Being able to force grab stuff.
Yeah, it is. At the last minute, we actually planned to enable it by default across everywhere, and that you could disable it in certain worlds. But at the last minute, we flipped that decision. We were worried that it's just not ready yet and that it was going to annoy people more than not. And we didn't want to put people through that over the Christmas period. So we decided to flip that decision and make it so that it's off by default and you can enable it in certain worlds. So you can certainly have a play with it and see what progress we've made with it so far. But I think we still need some polish there just to make that a little bit, cleaner.
I mean, I think it would be cool if we had like a little transparent line, and then maybe we could like flicker wrist back so you don't just go grabbing stuff all the time, sort of like Half-Life Alex, to get that kind of satisfaction from snapping your hand back.
From flicking it up in the air. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think given time, that would be an ideal place for us to kind of end up with it. What we're trying to do is we're trying to use physics to do it to some degree. Most things in Banter, right? We try to use physics where possible. So we're just applying forces to rigid bodies, which is what all interactables will use, and we're trying to push it into your hand. Literal force grab as a first attempt, which should make it possible for us to do exotic things like that if it works out. But if not, we might have to do what I guess a lot of the places have done, is we just fall back onto some fake way to do it essentially, but it looks and feels almost the same, right? Maybe an animation that does it and it makes it feel like it and it lands in your hand perfectly every time. But right now we're trying to go the ambitious route and trying to do it with just raw physics. And yeah, there's a few things to take into account there. Obviously, the gravity of the space that you're in is the first thing to consider, as well as the mass of the object you're trying to grab. So there's definitely some physics calculations there to do in order to get that into that place where, like you say, it does that nice little wrist flick, natural, just into your hand kind of motion. Yeah, definitely. I know that just crouching in general to grab things in VR is hard at the best of times, but it's not, with the physics-based character and everything we've got here, it can even be more difficult in Banter sometimes to get close to the ground. But yeah, Force Grab will hopefully solve all of that, and eventually it's going to be a native feature across every space, and you would only disable it if it was like the space had a some sort of a game that was broken if Force Grab was enabled.
Awesome.
So
Well,
yeah, I can maybe enable it in a test space, and you can have a play with it if you want to see what the current implementation is like. I can throw in a bunch of things on a table, and you can go in and see what it's like to throw them around.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Okay, it always looks like I'm trying to shoot people, but I'm not. I'm just trying to megaphone and unmegaphone.
You saw the wolf.
We're working on a new UI
for
that. Did I
Coming
tell you
right
that?
for us. Oh, okay. So this is a big boss question actually. So it's not really a space thing, and I'm reminded of it because it was a question that was asked earlier or discussion on the Pico. So with ByteDance's plans now to cancel the Pico 5, does that influence the Pico 4's compatibility in your mind, or how do you think for when it comes to continued support for that?
That's a great question. I'm getting flashbacks of being on podcasts right now and answering questions around SideQuest and general SideQuest integration. I think with the Pico 5, it's hard to say for sure exactly what's going on because on the first hand, they never confirmed its existence. So confirming a cancellation of it from an official source is kind of a difficult thing. I think I, along with several others, are kind of a bit concerned with some of the movements that Pico has been making lately, but there is still motion there. There is still things going on. They seem to have pressed pause in some regard, possibly because there's an impending Apple release, right? Which, depending on rumors, could be as soon as some point in January, which is kind of crazy. So there's, the speculation seems to be all kind of centering around this idea that maybe Pico might be regrouping in order to try to target a more, like say, non-gaming, more AR focused device, kind of like what Apple is going to be producing, right? So that they might start to do that. But like I say, all of this is really speculation at this point. Nobody really knows for sure what's going on with Pico. And as you can see from Remarcus and from his comments, there's still people out there who believe that the Pico is a superior device. And, from the statistics that we have, at least anyway, if you just look in the Discord and see the numbers in the Get Your Rolls channel as to how many people say they have a Pico versus, let's say, Quest 2, Quest 3, Quest 1, there's about half as many people have a Pico as have a Quest 1, right? So those numbers might be representative of something. There's certainly a substantial number of people with Picos. From that estimate, you could probably guess somewhere in the region of 500,000 units out there, which isn't nothing, right? That's certainly something. And that's 500,000 units that are supported on, the latest software and can still work with all the latest apps, as opposed to, let's say, the Quest 1, which is now, I guess, 4 years old or longer than that. And the software is starting to become unsupported for certain scenarios and use cases. But yeah, I don't know. That's a bunch of speculative waffle, and I have to add that disclaimer because I don't know for sure what's going on, and I can't say anything for sure. But I'm it's hard, when you see that Windows Mixed Reality has been deprecated and that they're going to be removing that in a future release, and then when you see some of these recent steps with Pico, it's kind of hard not to see that as a bit of a knock to the industry, which it is. But at the same time, we have many really positive epicenters, let's say, in terms of things that are going to really affect what's happening in this industry. And, the Apple release is one of them. Whatever's going on with Samsung and Google and them regrouping and trying to target things is another. The potential Quest 3 Lite, if the rumors are to be confirmed, is another, that could drive down the entry price for VR and for AR
Back again.
more than any ever before, really, right? And we saw what happened when Quest 2 launched at $300 in 2021. They shipped 10 million units. There's more than 20 million Quest 2s out there now, and that's a pretty crazy number, honestly, if you compare that to consoles and their sales, especially in the early years of their development. So if we see a Quest 3 Lite with the power of a Quest 3 with a limited feature set hit the market at a pricing target of like $200, that might just accelerate things considerably again. And what you find with these things is that the largest waves of adoption and acceleration of that adoption are usually driven around these epicenters, these large news beats, right? And at this stage in the industry, those kinds of catalysts kind of affect everybody. Everybody sees that benefit. Rising tides lifts all ships in that regard. So I think there's definitely a lot of positive and interesting things in the future. I think my personal opinion is that maybe Pico and also some of the other standalone headset developers just haven't really gone far enough to take the industry seriously, right? They should have been selling devices in the US a long time ago. They should have figured out whatever they needed to get that done. And I think some of the other devices, they're operating in this nebulous enterprise area where they're way overpriced compared to what a typical consumer needs. And they're just, I think the next wave of devices is going to ship a lot more units than some of the devices that we've, let's say, seen over this last year or so.
Agreed. Unless someone wants to jump up right now, I did have one last thing.
Go ahead.
We've mentioned a lot about other headsets right now. I know that it explicitly works for Banter, but what about SideQuest as an entity in itself? I know Quest is in the name, so it seems like it's a pretty, obvious answer possibly, but just want to ask, is there any plans of that to ever reach over into the other market spaces as well? I guess it would have to be a rebranding without the Quest at the end, but I don't know. What's your thought on that?
I've had that question a few times. So first of all, we've always supported pretty much every headset. We haven't ever been anything but device agnostic with SideQuest. Our software uses communication protocols that work with any Android-based device, right? So I've seen people use SideQuest, the software, with Google Glass. I've seen people use it with their Android-based fridges. I've used it with my Android TV. I've used it with my Android based car system, and it works pretty much with anything. It's pretty common trend. What we see is that people will screenshot the top left corner of SideQuest where it says the device name and tag us on Twitter and show, oh, it works on this thing as well. And often the new devices that come out, some people get early access to them, of course, for reviews and various reasons. And it's always one of the first things we see is a screenshot of, guess what? It works with SideQuest. So I guess in a nutshell, our software and tools have always been 100% device agnostic, and they can be used for everything. But as it stands, we also have mainstream support on the website for Pico and for Magic Leap as two devices that are, let's say, available right now that consumers can access that makes sense for us to support. But no, we've always been big advocates for OpenXR and things like that kind of make it easy and possible to target as many devices as possible. I think in the future, we see this being a space where there is going to be a large selection of Android-based headsets, kind of like how Android smartphones, maybe not quite as large a selection as that, right? But just because we've got device specifications from Qualcomm, and we're probably going to get some from others like MediaTek as well, people are just going to make this, take an OS off the shelf, put it onto it, rebrand it a little, and that's what we're going to see. And I think in the future, we need to be building tools that can support an ecosystem with that level of diversity, right? So yeah, SideQuest has always and will always support as many devices as we possibly can.
Very cool. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so yeah. Any questions? Any final questions maybe before I'll hand over to Faye to do our usual announcement of the Quest 3 winners? Nope. Nobody wants to stand up on the block? Okay, I'll maybe give it another 30 seconds of awkwardness. I actually love this awkwardness. Can we all just sit in silence for a moment? Nobody speak, and we're just listening to everybody's breathing. Mine especially. I'm a mouth breather, guys. No fake breathing. It's got to be real, guys.
Jem, this is your perfect time to say a swear word.
Yeah, Jem, you're an option to swear.
Yes, that's right, Shoseki. Wherever you are, you got that correct in your latest message.
Faye?
Oh boy. Yes, Faye,
Did
go
you mean
ahead.
Faye?
If you'd like
Okay.
if you'd like to take over, you can do our announcement this week. I'm assuming you've got all the details.
The question that just came to you via message was me. So you were confirming to me,
Oh.
right?
Gotcha. Right, yes. I thought that came from Shoseki. That's my bad.
This one.
Oh, okay. His name was in it. That made it right. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I have a really, really awesome announcement here. So we have 3 people this time who we are actually giving our Quest 3 to. And they are all here right now. Let's see. Just making sure everybody's megaphoned.
I've already got one.
Yeah, I remember.
K-Tox, Static Threat,
What?
and Shoseki.
No. You guys are killing me. Thank you so much. You did. You guys are crazy.
I told you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Better.
Seriously, with everything that everybody's done,
Well done, guys.
that all of you have done for the platform, we are also thankful. Thank you for being here with us for so long and being such big contributors. We love you all.
Thank you so much. We love you too.
Oh, thank you.
Well
Listen.
Well deserved. Who said that?
I'll just add on to that as well.
I love you guys.
If for anybody who hasn't won a headset, just understand, I guess, that we only have a limited amount. As much as I would love to give everybody one, because honestly, it's great fun. Giving out headsets, super fun. Highly recommend it. And I'll put that to our winners as well. I said it earlier. If you know somebody who could really use your headset as a hand-me-down, who would really love to engage with VR, then bring somebody into VR, right? Doesn't have to be banter, but if it's another person, another body in VR, then that can never hurt things, right? And
That's awesome.
for anybody who hasn't won, just bear in mind, this is not the end for our quest giveaways. We've actually been giving away quests. We've given away hundreds of quests in the last 4 years. We've been dragging hundreds of people into VR like this. So there will be future giveaways. There will be future selections at random to people who are just doing good within the community, right? And it doesn't have to be necessarily on any routine or anything like that. So I definitely encourage everybody to continue to engage and to try and contribute to the community. That kind of stuff is always going to be recognized and appreciated. And thank all of you so much for all that you're doing, especially all of you who are creating spaces. It's awesome. At this point, it's looking like we might hit 30 submissions for the hackathon, which is really great. Honestly, it's we have to go through all of those, which might seem like a lot, but it's so great to be able to have that many people take it seriously and engage with it. And we're really excited to be able to just continue this tradition, right? This is the 2nd annual hackathon, and we're just going to keep this going forever, right? This is going to be a banter thing that we do every year at Christmas time. So thank you for all of that. So that's kind of it, folks. I don't think we've got anything else for you. I think Casper's event starts in about 2 hours from now, if any of you guys are interested in checking that out. But for the rest of you, yeah, feel free to stick around. Feel free to go somewhere else. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to take myself off Megaphone now, and I'm going to wrap things up for Shoseki, who loves that I do that. Let's all bring it together. Sorry, I'll megaphone myself again there quickly. And that's it. Yeah, thank you very much, folks. And
thank you.
Clear cameras. We're good. Close it. That are we done? End the stream.